All right, here we are. Happy New Year, and again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Technically, we are still at Christmas because Christmas does not end until Epiphany. This is the first week of January. Epiphany, you got 12 days of Christmas. Remember the old song? And on the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. Blah, 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 blah. Right? So you got that. That's 12 days of Christmas. 12 days of Christmas doesn't start before Christmas Day, the 25th, right? The 25th is the first day of Christmas. The first. Okay? There's 12 more days. The three dudes marching through the desert by the star arrived. Right? Some call it three kings, some say three magi, some say three wise men, some say three guys. Right? So anyway, they ended up 12 days. Right? So that's 12 days of Christmas. So Jesus was birthed, and then those guys showed up with their presents, and they wanted to see God born in the flesh. They wanted to witness this and take it back to their people. And there's a whole bunch of stuff about that. A lot of people don't even know, because they were hunting for Jesus, because the emperor, he wanted him destroyed, right? So those three guys were actually called before the emperor, and he said to them, he said, hey, you get wind of where this baby is, you bring back you bring back the information for me. And of course they didn't. They just, well, we'll see what happens. They didn't say yes or no, I guess, or whatever. They were allowed to leave, and they went, and they did find Jesus, and the rest is history, right? So anyway, here we are. We're still working on the timeline. Now we're at 2026. Sometime between mid-2027 and mid-2028, the rapture, if the timeline is correct on the second coming, the rapture should happen sometime between mid-2027 and mid-2028. Now, Apophis, the meteor, the big meteor that can cause great devastation, is supposed to show up 2029. Now that's actually on record because they can track it, right? Now, what happens when the rapture happens? Well, when the rapture happens, then the man of sin, the son of perdition, can be revealed, but not before then. I keep seeing people pick apart 2 Thessalonians 2, the earlier verses and the little bit later verses. They're going according to what they think that they want people to believe, right? But that's ridiculous. God's watching. God is watching what you are doing on an individual level. God's watching. So, yeah. So you have to understand that when the Holy Spirit had showed me so many different things and I brought them out to you, it's not me, it's God. God is showing me through the Holy Spirit to show you. So that's how all that stuff up there came about, especially with Matthew 24 applies to both Gentiles and Jews, okay? And the rapture is at Matthew 24 verse 14. And the same event where Jesus is referring back to in his conversation with them, he is Matthew 24, verse 40 to 41. Verse 40 to 41 and verse 14 are the same event. The same event. Okay? Anyway, I know I'm off on a tangent here, but I'm coming back to the rapture because this is what we're talking about today. We're talking about winter clothing, and we're talking about what's going on in the world. We're talking about the rapture, all that good stuff. Because a lot of people think, oh, the rapture didn't happen. The rapture didn't happen. You know, because they pigeonholed it into one day or 1 month or something like that. Too many of those guys out there that are just, they keep trying to pigeonhole the rapture. You know what? Relax. It's like Christmas when you were a kid. You know what? The more you think about Christmas Day and getting your new Hot Wheels and Matchbox and whatever, okay? You know, the more it's gonna like bother you because it's not here yet. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. Because, you know, and then it's like tea, right? You put the tea kettle on, have some conversation with some friends. Before you know it, the tea's ready. You know, you hear the whistle. You know, so that's ready, right? But you didn't know it was going to be ready so quote unquote quickly because you were busy. Your mind was busy having a conversation. So if you're constantly dwelling on when, oh, the rapture, is it going to be here this week? You know, then it'll never get here. You'll just get discouraged, right? It's coming. Just relax. So, what have I got here? Off on a tangent for a few minutes. Now, but it's a needed tangent. So, what I have here is I've got Mick Lagarde hunting quote unquote hunter anorak, right? And I got my 90-year-old Woolrich Mackinaw wool coat, and I've got some hats here, right? So, and I've got these are Lamilite. These are Lamilite socks from Wiggy's. Now, I was talking with Wiggy recently, here a little while back, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I told him, I said, man, these are a bit thin, you know. But I had been thinking, well, what if I just doubled them? Because if you get something that's too thick in just its singular form, then, you know, it may or may not fit certain things, right? Certain footwear. So I thought, well, what if I just double them up, you know? But what happened was, as I sent old Wiggy a message, and I said, how about making the Lamilite socks about double of what they are, right? Because they seem a little bit light for super cold applications, you know. And then, but I had already thought about doubling them up anyway. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but it does work. But his answer was the same as mine. He says, just double them up. Of course, that requires you to buy another sock set, right? So I'm going to have to end up probably just going ahead and biting the bullet on that one and getting another set of Lamilite socks. But the thing is the more I've thought about it, the better an idea it is. So I'm going to get me another set of these Lamilite socks. Now you'll say, well, you're always talking about wool. What's the deal with the Lamilite socks? Well, I'll wear wool socks inside of these, but the Lamilite does move moisture quick, right? So, and it dries out real quick if you set it out somewhere. So, I do like Lamilite socks. I just still like to wear my Darn Tough socks with them. Now, I got Darn Toughs on right now. These are the Mountaineers. I feel this is my particular view is that the Darn Tough Mountaineer is the best sock in a wool sock. Now, I have been wearing socks for donkey's years. I mean, of course, we've all been wearing socks all our lives, but I have been wearing socks in an outdoors and tactical manner for many, many years. Now, and after a lot of experimentation and a lot of failed socks, these are the ones that have been the best overall as far as longevity and ability to keep my feet warm. Now, this is a doubled Wiggy's Lamilite sock setup. Now, it's almost you know, the fact is that both of these socks are the same size. So putting one sock the same size as another sock together in this sort of a material, you would think, well, that ain't gonna fit, and it doesn't fit exactly right, okay, but it's close enough. So I think getting another set of these in the same size, you know, you could do it, but I think that I'm going to go one size up. Okay, I think I'm going to go one size up. So these are 10s, and I think that I will get I think I will probably get an 11 to just pull over the top of these. Now with the mucklucks, it's crazy because I had to do a lot of measuring to get my muckluck set up. Had to be very specific. Anyway, I got those set up, my mucklucks. Now, my mucklucks I have worn in 40 below, and those are synthetic line. Those are Baffin liners that I got for inside of my mucklucks rather than the wool ones. It's been hard to find wool liners because I like the Canadian liners. I don't like the American liners because the Canadian liners are made heavier duty. They got extra material for the heel to keep them from wearing out and all that stuff. And so anyway, I haven't been able to run across a new set of Canadian liners. But the liners I've got from Baffin in my mucklucks, I have worn at 40 below, and those synthetic liners from Baffin were rated at minus 138 or 140, something like that. Minus 135, 140, something like that. And of course, that's walking, moving around. Those liners are designed for Antarctica. So if you're working in Antarctica in the winter, those Baffin Antarctic liners, that's what those are designed for. So, but the thing is that I was wearing wool trousers at the time, so my legs were insulated. My legs were well insulated, and so your feet are only going to be as warm as your leg. You know, is it's going to be. How do they say that? It is determined by the the insulation on your legs. So if you keep your legs well insulated to where that blood that's moving through your arteries can go through your legs without cooling off before it gets to your feet, then your feet will be warm. And then of course having well insulated mucklucks or boots will keep your feet warm. You know, between your leg insulation on your your trousers, your legs, and then the insulation in your mucklucks or your boots. Okay. Now I also have trapper boots by Baffin, and those always keep my feet, you know, well insulated. Yeah. Well, I'm about out of time. Alarm went off. Now this hat here, this is a Filson hat. Now this has got a particular color to it that I got it for the color for, you know, winter camo, kind of a winter camo colors. I got it for that. Now it's 50% wool and 50% something else. Probably polyester or something. Don't remember. See if we can get the info here. Well, I can't read it. Made in USA. Oh, 50% polyester. Right. Well, where are we heading? 50% wool, 50% polyester. Right? Shell. That's the outside part. Lining is 100% acrylic. So the outside, which is this nice color for hunting, that part is 50% wool and 50% polyester. That's this part. And then this green on here, in here, is acrylic. So this is 100% acrylic on the inside. But I'll tell you, I've been happy with it. I was not sure if I would be happy with it, but it is a decent hat. You know, just wear it with other stuff. Just everything is a layer system. You know, as long as you've got a lot of wool in your system, you should be good. Now Wiggy, he hates all material except for lamellite. He does, you know, and that's his prerogative. But I grew up with wool, and I have used wool extensively, and I have proven out wool under so many different conditions. He can believe whatever he wants, you know. He can believe whatever he wants. It doesn't matter to me. You know, I think that some stuff with lamellite mixed in with my wool stuff, I think it's fine. You know, but I would never trust 100% lamellite, in my opinion, for, my outerwear. Because like I was telling you that story earlier, I was soaked 100%, and it was probably 15, 20 below outside. That's minus 15, minus 20 Fahrenheit. And I was soaking wet, wearing wool, and I was warm, okay? And if I just keep the wool on, that's what my dad always told me, keep the wool on. Don't take anything off, keep it on. He says, just, wring stuff out a little bit, squeeze it and wring out the water on the trousers and whatnot. And he says, you stay warm, you'll stay warm, and I did. Anyway, here's this watch cap. Now this is a green watch cap, 100% wool. This is a green watch cap, it's 100% wool. Now this is a funny one with the brim built in here in the front. I can't remember the Army surplus fella. He's a former Marine who has a surplus outfit, and he sells these. But this is great for winter time. You're keeping the snow from getting directly in your eyes. Now if it's super cold out, need an extra layer, get you another watch cap. Get you another watch cap and roll it up. Roll it up to where the very inner top is exposed right there, right? And then you just take that watch cap and you're just going to take it and put the X right there, and then you're just going to roll it down. Alright, I'm just going to roll it down, way down as far as you can get. Now it's down to the brim here, and then it's down back there. Now I'm going to pull this neck gaiter up. There you go. $40 below, no problem. Yep. If I need to sleep, pull that up there. Of course, I'll have another garment on, an outer shell, wool grabs wool. So that neck gaiter, just pull it up there to about the crown of your head, and it will stay there, right? All this extra stuff down here, this is just extra insulation between your neck and the outside. It doesn't, it keeps the heat in. The heat counteracts the cold that's coming against you. The heat inside, it's like they're at odds with each other. They're fighting with each other. The heat's trying to push out, cold's trying to push in. See? It's like this. It's a constant battle. So you got heat in there. You're trying to keep that heat next to you. You make a lot of heat, it's trying to escape. This will keep it in, and then the cold, it's pushing the cold away, right? Yeah. Well, I think that's about all I'm going to talk about today. Inside, may get the sled out, may go outside and make a fire or something like that. I don't know. I might do that in the next couple days. Kind of tired right now. I've been doing a lot of stuff, but yeah. Well, I think for now that'll be it on these outdoors cold weather related videos. I'm gonna get something to eat. I think maybe I'll come back in another video and we'll talk a little bit more about some daily stuff that's going on out in the world that we need to discuss anyway. I made a few videos over the past couple weeks or so since Christmas time, since before Christmas time. I made one before Christmas time. You saw this ho 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 video there. But I've made a few videos because I've been a bit irritated with, world stuff going on out in the world, in the country, and in the other countries that are our allies and friends. I've been kind of irritated. I'm going to come back and talk about that stuff in another video or two. Something's going to have to be done. We, the people, are going to have to be the ones to get it done. Just the way it's going to have to be. Because things ain't moving fast enough. See you there.